They can't do it without some example and some guidance. And that's how they end up in gangs. If they have nothing, they end up in a gang, and the gang is dreadful. I mean, you see it here. We had a shooting here this afternoon. 40
really bad
shots
shooting.
fired a block from here. And that's because there are children running around in gangs because their fathers weren't present. And it's tragic. But
hello, everybody. That's right. Can you believe it? I'm still here, living in this tent right behind me for 100 days, from November the 20th to February 28th, bringing to you the awareness that you need about the violence in Chicago, and also to raise as much money as we possibly can to build a center on this block called O Block. It's called O Block because it's named after a young man named O.D. Perry who was shot and killed. The gangs picked up the O in his name and started calling it O Block. Well, we decided we're going to keep the O because we like the O, but we're going to call it Opportunity Block. And that's the reason why we're trying to build this center, to give as many people as we possibly can an opportunity that maybe they've never had before. Every now and then, Fox gives me this opportunity to give you rooftop revelations, my thoughts, my opinions, my ideas, and to share with you guests who come from around the country to stay with us on the rooftop. And tonight, I have with me George O'Neill and his lovely wife, Erica O'Neill. George is here for a second night, and we wanted to just dive right in because the first time he was here, you all heard us talk about fatherlessness. But as we talked about that issue, it was a really hot topic on the site, but it caused me to think about today abandonment. How when kids don't have parents in their life, how they have this sense of abandonment. And I know because I was that kid, an absent father, never there, never present. I can remember how I always felt a sense of abandonment and a sense of rejection. And as I minister in this neighborhood on the south side of Chicago, I see so many kids who are going through the same ordeal. And so I was talking to George and I was talking to Eric, and we were talking about that. And George, you had something that you wanted to share. You were saying about abandonment and the issues that children face as from your perspective.
well, it's terrible, and it's so difficult for children. I've seen it up close, to wonder why their parent, whatever parent's absent from them, wonder why, and they feel unworthy, they feel rejected, and it's a very big burden. Most people don't understand what a terrible burden it is, but it does weigh heavy on many children who don't know where their father is or why he doesn't come to see them. And are they unworthy? They feel, in my experience, they feel unworthy, they feel rejected, and it's a terrible burden, as you said, all their lives. And some never get over it. Many children like that end up in trouble and with drug problems and all that. And you see that in the communities where you have huge numbers of people that just aren't raised by a father in particular. And it causes all sorts of these terrible pathologies that are destructive to the people who live in the communities. And
Absolutely.
we should not underestimate how difficult it is.
Absolutely. I know, Erica, when we were having this discussion earlier, we were talking about abandonment. You brought up your son, and I found it interesting that you said that just because a parent is not there does not mean you cannot be present. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, for me, I was a single mom for a number of years, and from about the time that my son was, I think, 6. But I was very fortunate in that his father was still present in his life. You know, he was no longer in the home, but he spent regular time with our son, and my son adored spending time with him. So I had the best of probably the worst situation or a bad situation, in that he still at least understood the importance of being present. You know, he wasn't in the home, but he was a present father, and it was very important for my son growing up.
Absolutely. I want to carry what both of you said just a little further. I know you said that if about the pathologies that are created from abandonment and how important it is to have people step in. That's one of the reasons why we're trying to build this community center, because we have all of these children. 80% of the households are single parent households in our neighborhood, which means there's a lot of abandonment, a lot of rejection. And so we need a place that is focused on creating mentors and giving children an opportunity to talk through their pain and their issues. And as I think about it, I really do believe one of the things that saved me in the midst of feeling abandonment and rejection from my father is the fact that I had a community center where I had the most wonderful mentors. And not only did I have a community center where I had great mentors, but I had an awesome elementary, not just teacher, but a father figure mentor in my life. His name is Joe Stokes. Hopefully I'm going to get to talk to him on this fireside chat, but he's in Florida. He was my principal, but having him there meant so much. Can you just talk about for a second how important you think it is to have mentors and extended family involved in a child's life?
Well, you always have to have people to help guide you. I fortunately had my father and other members of the family. But if your father's not present, we do need to help provide for people to help these children grow up and help them, particularly with young men, to grow up as young men. And they can't do it without some example and some guidance. And that's how they end up in gangs. If they have nothing, they end up in a gang, and the gang is dreadful. I mean, you see it here. We had a shooting here this afternoon. 40 shots fired a block from here. And that's because there are children running around in gangs because their fathers weren't present. And it's tragic, but it's what's happening.
Absolutely. Erica, what do you think about, just this whole idea of needing a place? I know you're really passionate about young people, and you work with, you're on the board of trustees at Warner University, so I know you are passionate about young people. But what do you think about the importance of having a place and space and people involved in these young people's lives who are finding themselves in those positions?
Oh, I think it's crucial. I mean, we all have this innate desire to belong and want to be a part of something. So that, you kind of, going off of what George said, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So having that place puts in that structure, and having people, and I'm very fortunate with my involvement at Warner, being able to see such an incredible group of individuals who are passionate about being that support, and you've had the opportunity to see that.
Absolutely.
And
firsthand.
What a powerful change that is in the lives of young people. If you can find that greater community willing to invest and pass that passion on to the young people. It's transformational. It's life-changing for them.
It's life-changing, transformational. That's the reason why it's so important we get this center built. And I want to thank both of you, George and Erica, for coming to Chicago, to this rooftop for a second time to talk about fatherlessness, abandonment, but also to talk about solutions and the need for this center. So thank you for giving your time. Thank you for sharing your talents, and thank you for sharing your treasure. We greatly appreciate it. To all of you who are watching our Rooftop Revelations, I want to say thank you. And again, thank you to Fox for giving me this opportunity every single day. I really, really appreciate it. And as I always say, until tomorrow, peace.